Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we really try to take a fresh look at different source materials.
Digging in a bit deeper than maybe you normally would.
Exactly. Finding those, surprising insights that might get missed.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're looking at an entry from Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris. It's the one for July 30th titled The Glorious Ascension of Jesus.
Right. And for anyone maybe not familiar, Rhapsody of Realities is this, well, it's a daily devotional. Lots of people read it, offer spiritual thoughts, interpretation.
And often, kind of fresh takes on, well-known Bible stories or events.
Definitely. And our mission really for this deep dive is to explore why this specific source says the ascension of Jesus is, I'm quoting here, the biggest event to ever happen in this world.
That's a huge claim.
It is.
All right.
And also why the source seems to suggest it's maybe underemphasized or perhaps not fully grasped.
Okay. So setting the stage, I want you to just imagine, just for a moment, witnessing something so incredibly powerful, maybe visually overwhelming, that you might actually have been, unable to speak for days afterwards, just completely speechless.
Yeah.
Because the source we're looking at, it describes the ascension in exactly those terms. It calls it something too weighty for words.
It really does. The devotional starts, foundationally with Luke 24:51. It quotes, "And it came to pass, while he blessed them, he was parted from them and carried up into heaven." Pretty standard.
Okay.
But then it really zooms in on Acts 1, verse 9 to kind of underscore the visual power, the sheer spectacle of it.
Right, Acts 1.9. The source points out, it says, "And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight."
While they beheld.
Exactly. That's the key phrase the source pulls out, isn't it? The emphasis is all on the eyewitness part. His disciples were looking right at him as he went up.
Mm-hmm. Actively watching.
Yeah, it wasn't like a magic trick, a sudden vanishing. The source describes it as this distinct physical ascent that they watched happen in real time.
And that's what's so fascinating. The sources focus on the specificity there. It wasn't just, poof, he's gone.
Right.
They saw him, levitate,
Yeah.
go upwards. And the devotional then asks this really interesting question, kind of puts you in their shoes. If you had been there, how on earth would you even describe that?
You probably couldn't initially.
Exactly. The source suggests the shock, the awe.
Yeah.
It would just leave you speechless. For days, maybe, implying that that's how it hit the disciples, which, as the source points out, feels different from, say, other biblical moments, like Elijah being taken up in a whirlwind. This felt very personal, direct, clearly seen, visible.
Okay, so this incredibly visual, powerful event, but the source also suggests it wasn't entirely out of the blue for Jesus' inner circle, right? It connects it back.
Yeah, it links it back to John chapter 6. You remember, Jesus had said some things that were really challenging for people at the time.
Oh, yeah, the "my flesh is meat indeed and my blood is drink indeed" statements.
Exactly. Really profound, kind of mystifying stuff back then. And the text says many disciples actually left him over those words. They couldn't handle it.
Right.
So this raises the question, how did Jesus react when they were offended? He turned to the 12, the core group, and asked them essentially, does this offend you too?
Mm-hmm.
And then he adds, what and if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before?
Ah, there's the connection.
Right. And the source highlights that at that moment in John 6, there's no recorded answer from the disciples. It just hangs there, like a prophetic hint left unanswered.
Until
the ascension. Right before their very eyes, those words from John 6 suddenly, vividly came true. They actually saw what the source calls that thing, too weighty for words.
Wow, okay. So they witnessed this incredible predicted event. But how does that experience, even as profound as it must have been for them personally, translate into the source's huge claim that this is the biggest event that ever occurred on Earth?
Yeah, this is where the source really lays out its central argument. It fully acknowledges the resurrection, obviously. That's foundational for salvation, no question.
Of course.
But then it elevates the ascension. It says the ascension is, and again quoting, proof of something even more remarkable. His supreme authority, dominion, lordship, and eternal reign.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Proof of authority.
So the source isn't just talking about a title. It's suggesting that this visible act of ascending, going up into heaven while they watched, is the confirmation. The proof.
Proof that he really is king.
Exactly. Proof of his active, ongoing kingship, his legislative power, his ultimate control over everything heaven, earth, all realms. So according to this source, it's not just him leaving Earth.
No, it's more like a coronation. Or a public declaration.
Something like that.
Yeah.
A dramatic, undeniable statement about his ultimate status. And crucially, the foundation for his continued work and rule from heaven.
That's a really powerful distinction. It frames the ascension not just as the end point of his time on earth, but actually the starting point, the inauguration almost of his eternal reign and authority from that position.
Precisely. And the source then makes the case that despite how huge it argues this event is, the ascension hasn't really gotten the focus it deserves.
It says something like, we often read about it and assume everyone understands it.
Yeah, that's the line. It implies we sort of skim over it, maybe take its significance for granted.
Okay, so connecting that to the bigger picture,
Right.
the source seems to be saying that, well, churches, Christians, even preachers
Haven't emphasized it enough. That's the argument. That its full weight, its significance as the biggest event that ever occurred on earth, specifically as that visible confirmation of Jesus' supreme authority, often gets overlooked.
Interesting. So thinking about this for you, the listener, what does this deep dive really highlight? I mean, for me, it shows how often we can encounter ideas or historical events, things that are really widely known.
Yeah, things we think we know inside out.
Right. Maybe they're part of our common knowledge, but perhaps we haven't fully grasped all their implications, their depth. Kind of like how this source presents the ascension.
Exactly. We know about it, but do we understand its weight in the way this source argues we should?
Right.
Which I think leads us to a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on a bit.
Okay.
If an event like the Ascension, which the source describes as being so visually stunning, so impactful, witnessed directly by observers, if that can become, over time, sort of underemphasized, or maybe its full meaning gets a bit blurred or less fully grasped, then what other things, what other seemingly obvious historical moments or big concepts or turning points might we, collectively be overlooking or maybe simplifying, just assuming that everyone already gets the full weight of it, when maybe we don't?
That's a really interesting question to end on. What else are we perhaps taking for granted? Food for thought.
For more information on how you can grow spiritually using Rhapsody of Realities, please visit our website, www.rhapsodyofrealities.org, or you can also visit rin.rhapsodyofrealities.org/salvation. Thank you.